place, but it's not what everyone expects. There are a lot of culture shocks here, and today I'm going to go through some of them to help prepare you for what it's like here. Hi, my name's Allison. I've been living with my family in Bali for the past 2 years, and today I am going to tell you a little bit more about this island that I've called home. Recently, I asked my Instagram followers what were the biggest surprises about coming to Bali, and they had a lot to say. I've kind of condensed them into the top 10 culture shocks that you might expect when you come to Bali. So number 10 is what I like to call, it's not Hawaii. Sometimes people come here and they think everything is going to be like Hawaii, like everything will be westernized and up to safety standards and up to what they're expecting. And it's just not that. You can't drink the water here. You might get sick from it. You might get sick from the food. You're gonna see things that are just not the same as what you might be used to back home. So do know that it's still a developing country, and you're gonna see and smell and hear things that are different from what you're used to. Number 9 was the weather. The weather can be a little bit extreme here in Bali. The good news is it's always warm, so you can prepare for that. And we do have 2 distinct seasons. The rainy season, which goes from about October to April, and the dry season, which is April to October. During the rainy season, it's all over the place. It could rain for 15 minutes. It could not rain at all. It could rain only at night. It could rain all day. It's really hard to predict, and weather apps will not help you here. So just be prepared with an umbrella or a raincoat. You can easily get a plastic rain poncho at a convenience store or a grocery store, but a lot of times people just wait the rain out. We don't even use umbrellas here. We just wait for the rain to stop, and if it doesn't, then we gear up. It is always hot and humid. It's not a dry heat, that's for sure. You'll be sweaty. Even in the dry season, it's a little bit cooler and a little bit not as humid, but it's still pretty warm. I've occasionally wanted like a light cardigan at the beach during the dry season because it's quite windy, but you won't need a jacket unless you go up to the mountains. And really the only way to predict the weather here is to look at the sky. If you see rain coming in, it's probably gonna rain. And if not, it'll probably be sunny for a bit longer. It's just hard to predict. Number 8 is the spiritual vibe of the island. There's just this something that you can't put your finger on here that you can feel. And some people feel it more than others. And I've been told that it can kind of drive some people out and it can cause other people to stay. But there's definitely a spirituality on this island and a magic that if you look for it, you'll definitely see, and it's part of what makes this place really special. Number 7 is the friendliness of the locals. The people are what make this island so very special. If you were to go to other islands in Indonesia, it doesn't have the same feeling. The Balinese people are so beautiful, so kind, so generous, and so patient. I cannot believe what they put up with half the time. So if you're coming here, be sure to talk to people that you come into contact with, learn from them. I'm constantly learning from people who I come into contact with here, and just enjoy all of their traditions and ceremonies and things that you probably don't do back in your home country. Number 6 is the food. Food is really good in Bali. There are so many options, no matter what your dietary restrictions are, what you like to eat, you will find it here. And it's really convenient. There's lots of restaurants in all the major tourist areas, and you can also get things delivered super easy using one of the apps like Grab or Gojek. We really don't cook that much here because it's just so convenient to get whatever we want whenever we want it. Number 5 is the walkability. This can be a big shock to people. It's hard to walk here for several reasons. First of all, it's hot, so you start sweating the minute you start walking anywhere. Second of all, there's not really sidewalks like you might be used to. If there are sidewalks, sometimes part of it is missing, sometimes part of it is used for something else, or it's broken, or it might be like a drainage area where the top is missing, so there's like a huge hole into the ground. It's just not easy to walk, especially if you are a parent and have small kids. There's a lot of motorbikes whizzing around and cars, and unless you're here in Sanur on the beach is a nice place to walk. If you're farther out in the country, you can walk on the side of the road. But it's just not the same as like major cities that you're probably used to. So if you're planning on walking a lot, it's probably not gonna happen. So if you rent a place, for example, that's 15 minutes from the beach by walking, chances are you probably aren't gonna walk. So think about how you're gonna get there. Will you take a taxi? Will you have a driver? Will you ride bicycles? And bicycles also aren't great in a lot of places. Here in Sonora, it's okay. But other places, it's not great. Number 4 is how kid-friendly Bali is. And I have to agree with this. Locals love kids, especially babies, and so many things are set up for children that make it convenient for people to come here with kids. For example, a lot of restaurants have playgrounds in them. They'll bring out coloring for the kids. A lot of times staff at restaurants will hold babies. You'll see that a lot. It's just really, really sweet. It's also super easy to find food for kids. Most places have kid-friendly menus. You can even order homemade baby food if your kids are just into purees. That's possible here. There are rental places where you can get fences for your pool, you can get bottle sterilizers, you can get baby cots, you can get strollers. You can rent it all here. It's convenient, it's easy, and people are ready for kids to come here. There's also a ton of babysitting and nanny services. So the nannies here are awesome. They love kids. They often come with kid-appropriate toys and activities. They are not that expensive. The babysitters here are great. If you need some time by yourself or you just need an extra set of hands, hiring a nanny is a great option in Bali. Number 3 is the motorbikes. There's a ton of motorbikes here. Motorbikes are king on the road. They get to places very fast. There's deliveries made on motorbikes. You won't believe the things that you see on motorbikes. Animals, construction supplies, huge bottles of water. They do it all by motorbike here. And you'll see full families on motorbikes, some with helmets and some with not. It's also the fastest way to get around here. And it's fairly inexpensive to cars. So a lot of locals have motorbikes and not cars. And a lot of people who live here have motorbikes. We take our kids to school on a motorbike. I do want to say this, that motorbikes are not safe. I see accidents all the time, people scraped up. Traffic doesn't generally move that fast, but it is not safe. It is safer to be in a car. And if you've never ridden a motorbike before, I don't think you should start here. There are places that have lessons, or you could practice in a parking lot. Just be sensible and know what the rules are and kind of pay attention to what traffic is. Another thing I want to say about traffic is that there is not really road rage here. So people are kind of just like going with the flow. So think of it like a river. People kind of come in, people go out. And it's like a team sport. Like when I'm riding my motorbike, if someone is pulling out, I go out with them because we're all kind of going together. Think of it like a team sport. You're not on your own. Number 2 that so many people mentioned is how much trash there is here. And it's true. Bali has a huge trash problem. You will see trash on the side of the road. You will see trash being burned next door to the villa you've rented. You will see trash on the beach from time to time, depending on the tides and how rainy it has been. There is a lot of trash and it's really sad and it's a big problem. What I would encourage you to do is to be part of the solution and not part of the problem. Bring your own water bottle so you can refill it from a safe drinking source and you won't be using a lot of different small plastic bottles. Think about your plastic use and try to limit it while you're here. And if you're on the beach and you see some trash, pick it up and put it in a bin. If you want to support a local organization that is helping clean up the rivers here and educate locals on trash options, check out Sungai Watch. I will link them in the notes below, but they are doing some amazing work here in Bali and you should definitely check them out. Okay, the number 1 thing that so many of you commented on here in Bali that was shocking to you is the traffic. It's horrible, guys. It takes so long to get from one place to another, especially if you're in a car. So bring along some patience. If you see that somewhere is, just a few kilometers away, that doesn't mean it's just going to take a few minutes to get there. If you use Google Maps and see how long it takes you to get from point A to point B, I would probably double that. It takes a long time to get from one place to the other, especially in high traffic areas. And I would just encourage you, if you're coming to visit Bali, to stay in one place and not go too far too often, because it's so tiring to be in a car that's going so slow and not getting you where you want to be. A lot of people have found this really frustrating, and I do too. Yesterday I was in the car for most of the day and I hated it. So just keep in mind that it does take a long time to get from point A to point B and anywhere in southern Bali. And if you're prepared for it, maybe it won't be so bad. I hope this is helpful for you. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, and I'll see you next week where I'll have some more information about Bali.